Welcome to the Heart-Led Business Show, where compassion meets commerce and leaders lead with love. Join your host, Tom Jacobs, as he delves into the insightful conversations with visionary business leaders who defy the status quo, putting humanity first and profit second. From heartfelt strategies to inspiring stories, this podcast is your compass in the world of conscious capitalism. So buckle up and let your heart guide your business journey.
Hey, Heart-Led heroes, get ready for the wise and wild Dr. Kristin Wild. She whirls through billion-dollar boards like a brisk breeze and brilliantly binds business to wellness with the world's first digital doc in a box. So strap in for a thrilling trip through the Titan of Trades and the Duchess of Diagnosis right here on the Heart-Led Business Show. Our chronicle of clever commerce and caring clinics is about to commence. Kristin, welcome to the show.
I thank you so much. I have never heard an introduction like that one before.
It's all you. So I think it fits you perfectly.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you, Tom. This is awesome.
I'm really excited to have you on the show as well and to really take us on this journey that you've been through. I think it's just absolutely fascinating. But first, I always like to ask our guests, what's your definition of a heart-led business?
That one's super easy. Profit and purpose.
I love it. Profit, perfect.
Profit and purpose. Let's go. That's always the goal because then we end up at a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's quite simple. The simpler we make things, then the easier it is to accomplish.
So true. Now, I don't need to nitpick here, but why profit first and then purpose? Or
I would suppose they go hand in hand. Yeah, they're interchangeable in that way. But the thing is we are running businesses. They have to make a profit.
yeah, what this is all about is being okay with having purpose and making a profit doing it, because you can't help other people if you don't have a business.
Exactly.
Well, tell us what is your business and what inspired you to start a heart-led business?
Yeah, so I have a couple businesses, and it's one of those things, it's one thing to be a heart-led person, and it's another thing to run a heart-led purpose because it takes a lot more maneuvering, a lot more care, a lot more consideration than a typical business would because, we're coming from a paradigm where the bottom line was the most important thing, and we're moving into a new paradigm where emotional intelligence is the greatest. It's the greatest gift you can have. It's the greatest skill you can have. We're moving into people-led economy instead of that top-down. We're moving from bottom up now. And so that really takes a grassroots approach. And so my businesses, I have two. I have a digital clinic called Modern Health Solution. We work with people that are in chronic physical pain, chronic illnesses like autoimmune conditions. We work with people that have severe anxiety and depression, and we work with people that are recovering from traumatic relationships. Now, that business has tons of no-cost and low-cost programs. And then it also has a more what we'd call in the biz, a high-ticket program. And yet, that high-ticket program is still affordable healthcare for how much it would cost to go through a system like that. So that's the part where that's where the profit piece comes in that business. If someone's so inclined to go deeper and invest, they can. And if not, there's tons of available free resources that are very robust and that help create tangible, practical results for people. Yeah. So that's one business. And then the second business that I have is called British Columbia Mediation and Consulting. And that we do real estate and medical system strategy. So we work with multi-million, billion-dollar portfolios, projects. I'm right now doing quite a bit of work with Catholic dioceses and Christian organizations that want to build affordable housing and have that affordable housing make some profit so that they can invest in their programs. So you can see purpose and profit. It is always the goal, even when we're working with nonprofit organizations. So things are changing.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, that's great. Tell us a little bit more about that second business. How real estate and healthcare. Like how does that kind of combined.
It's how things just kind of come together and you're doing things your whole life and you don't really know why. Well, I'm obsessed with real estate. It's just this weird side thing that I've always been obsessed with it. I was a real estate agent for a while, owned a
Mm.
property management company, done my own investing. I just was so obsessed with it. People started asking me for advice over the years.
Huh.
And so finally, 5 years ago, I opened a company. I was like, y'all might as well pay me. And so
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. And then the fact that I had created this integrative health system, there's now a lot of private health systems arising, and they need help organizing in how they can structure these systems. So it just happened to me.
Wow. So it's in my mind when you said real estate and healthcare systems, I was thinking you were finding real estate for healthcare systems, but they're different.
They're
Right.
different. Sometimes we're doing consulting on building private clinics. Sometimes we're doing consulting on building affordable housing. It's all over. It's so fun.
Oh yeah. Well, and for a serial entrepreneur like yourself, then having that variety is very important.
So it's like multi-talented. You like to have your multi-dimensional things so that you never get bored in your career.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like that as well. The other day I was going through and I was like, oh, you know what? I should do this additional piece of the business. And then I was like, no, shiny out. I'm gonna like hold off for right now on that until later. But that's the curse of entrepreneurship, is that shiny object syndrome. But so has everything been just rainbows and butterflies for you as you've built a purpose-led business that makes a profit, or have there been a few bumps in the road?
Okay, so this is the thing, is when you are purposeful about something. I read a quote a while ago that said you can never overinvest in being the market leader. And so I agree with that. This isn't for the faint of spirit. Do not become an entrepreneur if you can't handle going through a period of time where you don't know where your next paycheck's coming from. So I went over 3 years without a paycheck in building Modern Health Solution because I was so passionate about what we were doing. We're helping people heal from diseases they're told are incurable. So I took my entire nest egg and created this program and invested in understanding how to create a digital program to be the best. And, it was times where I was like, what the hell am I doing? I'm so good at real estate investing. I could have just taken that money and invested in real estate and not worry. It's like all these thoughts run through your head, but then that's you come back to that purpose. It's like, no, I can't not do this. You have someone who sends you a message and said, this has completely transformed my life. I wouldn't have made it. And you go, okay, and you double down again. You have to keep doubling down until you make it. And the things that you go through your mind, your spirit, it is a rite of passage. So if you're feeling that way, just know you're normal. That's part of the process.
Right. And so in designing a purpose-led business, how do you know if the purpose that you want to give to the world
Mhm.
can make a profit and people want it?
We live in a planet that is so interconnected. If you are passionate about it, there are other people that are too. Easy peasy. Sell it to yourself. That's what I did. I made it for me. I made it for past Kristin, who was in immense pain and completely in a state of hopelessness, had doors closed in her face every step of the way. I made it for her.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Because, I mean, you're your best customer most of the time anyway. Yeah. So how did you find your passion and your purpose?
Well, again, it just happened to me. I got real sick for a decade and with no answers. So I took it upon myself to try and cure myself. It was do or die, right? Literally do or die. There was a point where I was bedridden 80% of the time. I was told I needed 4 of my joints replaced. My organs were shutting down. And they said that I was insane because I wouldn't take medication. But I just knew from research and having such a science background that when we're putting chemicals in our body, they're not communicating well with our cells because they're not natural, right?
Yeah.
And so I had received a lot of backlash while I was busy dying. One thing led to another, and I finally found results. And then those results fed other results. And here I am 6 years in remission. And we're still finding even more clues to longevity and now biohacking and et cetera. But I had no choice but to become this person. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, so many entrepreneurs I speak to, especially the heart-led ones, have that same kind of crisis in their life that forces them to make a decision whether to stay in the profit-led or go towards the purpose or the heart-led piece. And they find so much more peace and fulfillment in doing the business that is meant for other people, putting the people over the profits. And a lot of times when they have the business mindset as well, they're able to make that business really successful.
mhm.
But I also talk to those practitioners and heart-led business owners that don't have that business acumen. So what type of advice would you give to somebody that has a purpose-led but is just struggling with business and going, I don't know how to make this happen? And, they're fearful of closing their doors.
What I would do is go out and collaborate and create a partnership with someone who is good at business.
Oh,
So, for instance, in our platform, we've now brought in other holistic coaches and we create the atmosphere and bring the people in, and then they can just do their work. Very rarely is someone going to be a true entrepreneur because it takes decades of learning. You call instant success? No, it takes many, many years to be successful. And often people don't understand the rite of passage that's going to be to step through that experience and to be in charge of your own finances. You have to learn so much. You basically have to go get an MBA in experience. And so it's one of those things. So if that's not your thing, you want to just you have an amazing service and you're so good at it and you're so talented, don't bother learning business. Find someone who's already good at it, plug into their system, and collaborate.
Oh, I love that. I mean, talk about putting people first as well in that collaborative environment. Just helps everybody because you have one business. Although I can see some conflict probably coming up at some point. It's like, oh, we need to make some more profit from the business person. The other person's like, yeah, but we need to help all these other more people. But I think it makes a business better when you have those conflicts, those positive conflicts in the business. Yeah.
And you can control the narrative from the beginning. So if you are on the business side of things, you know what you're doing. And that at this point, when you're bringing in all other people to collaborate with. So if you control the narrative from the beginning, these are the expectations. And also that other person maintains their sovereignty and freedom. Then they're free to come and go. They're free to set their hours. They're free to do what they need to do. And if they're not progressing or contributing in the way that was expected, then they're naturally just going to fall away.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. So when you were first kind of building the business and going through the crisis that you had, times where the profit just wasn't happening, right? And then did you actually partner with other people to make that happen? Or how did you get through kind of the down times in that business?
So I'm self-funded. I cashed in all of my real estate investments to do this.
Wow. Let's talk about burning the boats.
Yeah.
What type of fire does that put under you?
A huge one. I went through it. And through all this too, I was going through a divorce and all the things, as we do. This is how life is. It's like everything's coming at you at once. And so I'm raising 2 daughters and going through this another experience, and that's it. And in the background, I was doing volunteer work I have for years and helping women and children escape domestic abuse. So I still do that to this day. I'm still boots on the ground with that. And so I was doing that as well and going to school full time.
It always amazes me how people are able to do so much in such a short, in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And still make it out to the other side.
Yeah. And sometimes when we look back, it's like, how did I do that? And it's grace. It's like, I call it the walk of grace. It's funny when you are determined and you're like, I am doing this no matter what. It's amazing the serendipities that show up, the connection points and how one thing leads to another. For instance, the place that I was volunteering at that time, it was not in a good mental state then. So they had me folding clothes with the volunteers in their what they call karma market. And this week, I was offered president of their board.
Oh, wow.
So you never know how things are going to unfold for you and why things are happening in the moment. And then in hindsight, it's like, oh, it was all for this moment.
Yep. Yeah. And it's so interesting too. Like myself looking back at those times, working 20 hours a day for days on end and, thinking about it going into that, I would never have done that probably, but it just happened because the purpose, the passion was there and I knew that it had to happen. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs like yourself feel that way as well. It's comforting to hear that there is, on the other side, there's better things to come about, especially for those that are kind of struggling right now, or even contemplating starting a heart-led business, but just kind of struggling with that business side. So other than partnering with somebody else, what other pieces of advice would you give to a burgeoning heart-led business owner that might be not so great at the business side?
Just learn. Is find someone, whether it's on YouTube, there's so much information out there, books, YouTube, learn. And you have to get obsessed with it. If you're not into it, you're not going to make it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I saw somebody go through that, starting a business and then within 9 months was just kind of like going along. And I was like, what are you doing? It's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I'm like, okay, it's going to be hard to start. And, that was the advice. I said, be prepared. It's going to be hard to start, but once you put the work in, you will be successful if you're passionate about it. And apparently you're not passionate enough about it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, there's that wave, right? Alex and Layla Hermosi show it is really cool where it's like you have uninformed optimism in the beginning. You're like, yay, this is going to be so amazing. And you can just see the vision and so exciting. And then you get like informed pessimism. You're like, oh no, this is so much harder than I thought it was going to be. And that's where you have to really get into the muck of it and the learning phase. And some people don't get out of that phase, but then it turns into informed optimism. And that's where you really get going. And if you don't make it through that uninformed pessimism stage, you're not going to make it.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people quit at that end that probably should have just kept their job over the years instead of trying something new or something that they weren't quite prepared for.
Well, and often they just don't know. It's innocence, right? You don't know what it's going to take because if you've continuously worked for someone else, you're clocking in and clocking out every day. You don't really anticipate what it's going to be like because you have no connection point until you're in it. And you're like, oh, this is hard.
Now, have you ever been a part of a profit-based business, either of your own or working for somebody else that was purely profit?
Sure. Yeah. But I was a real estate agent. So but the thing is, I still loved the people and we had so much fun and it was really great. And they bought nice houses and it worked out for them. And, so it was still very heart-centered. We had such a good time.
My first job out of school was in oil and gas. And so that was like purely profit. And
oh my gosh, me too, actually. Yeah. I was an industrial electrician.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Well, I was tracking rail cars of chemicals, so not quite that exciting.
But you're right. Yes, that one.
Looking at, a purely profit business, it felt like it was sucking the soul out of me.
Yes.
Day to day. And it was just like every day was a pressure cooker. And not that having the purpose-led business or the heart-led business isn't a pressure cooker at times, but it feels better because you have that purpose behind it. Me like making sure that polypropylene made its way to the plant, Yeah, if it doesn't, I'll get in trouble. But like at the end of the day, like what's that going to do for the world? Right?
Mhm.
More plastics. Yeah. But
Yeah.
having, a fitness center, like I started with my fitness center and having that,
Yeah.
seeing that people were changing and getting better and even working 20 hours a day, it felt great.
Yes. Yes, you're right. It's exactly that. This feeling like your soul is being just from your body every day. Definitely, I can relate to that, and that's exactly why I cannot work for other people anymore. It's just not an option. I can work
Right.
with people,
Yeah.
and and I love people, but being your own sovereign entity is worth it.
Give me your own opinion on this. But I feel like the purpose led business feeds your soul even in those dark times versus, sucking the soul out of you.
Yeah, well, it's what's gonna get you through because there will be so many so many roadblocks, so many things that you have to figure out and strategize and reroute, and when you have that purpose behind you where, you know, you're really making an impact on people's lives, it will keep you going.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the Doc in a Box. I'm really fascinated with that.
I love that. It's amazing. So we decided to go all digital because we want to work with people everywhere. And so we have something called the collective. And it's everyone together. So there is coaches and people in there that are a little bit further down the path than others, but every person in their teaching is someone who's lived through what people are learning to navigate. Seeing someone on the path alone makes such a massive difference and in bringing in hope and motivation for people to move forward because often people just feel stuck. They've been told take this medication or this is your life, there's nothing we can do about it. And so to be able to see other people who have overcome what they were told was impossible is magic. It really is an amazing place. So we have programs in place that are practical, where you
Mhm.
follow step by step and you can really make a difference in your own life. And it started from me, but now we have, I don't even know, we brought in 2 new coaches just last week. So I think we're at 10 coaches now,
Oh, wow.
and they are all unique. We have people that are PhDs in social work. We have medical doctors. We have, it's just all these different types of people that have just that same vision of seeing us in this new earth, this new way of healing, this new way of living in our bodies. And it's working. So I don't even know how to describe it. It's amazing. It's just like blows my mind because I had a feeling it was going to become this, but I didn't know how.
Yeah.
And how it's unfolded has just been it's been miraculous for me to witness this whole thing.
That's so cool. And what type of conditions are people seeking help for?
It's mostly autoimmune conditions because
Mm.
that is, that's what I overcame an autoimmune condition, probably one of the most severe that you
Mhm.
could see. So for me to come out the other side like this, so healthy, is I'm a living testament of that. And so now so hundreds of other people are also a living testament to that. So that's what we mostly people come in. We're at like 1 in 2 people have autoimmune symptoms or conditions in the
Wow.
Western world. Yeah. And throughout the UK. It's for so many people. And the other piece is the anxiety and depression piece. Well, they kind of go hand in hand. There's so many people living with major anxiety and depression right now because we are in a we're really weird world, and from the chaos will emerge the coherence, but we're still in the chaos phase, so it's like we're just kind of over here in our nuclear shell, and
Yeah.
creating that coherence, right? And it's just this beautiful experience because we're walking hand in hand with people. The day of the guru is over.
Mm.
It's like, I'm a human, you're a human. I have some answers and keys. You have some answers and keys. Let's share them and do whatever we can to bring this planet into the enlightened state that it's destined for.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Talk about a steep hill to climb right now anyway, but I'm so glad there's people like you that are taking on that torch and helping. And especially that the help, having it online as well, and the help that you're providing to people with depression, anxiety, and the autoimmune diseases. Like, a lot of times it's hard to leave the home. And so having that platform right there and on their laptop is so great. What a great idea.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, how can people find out more about you and all the different programs that you have to offer?
Probably the best way is just go to drkristinwild.com and it will have all the variety that is me.
Awesome. Well, Kristin, thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing your advice, your wisdom, your experience with the listeners today. I know they really appreciate it as well as I do.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate that you have a platform like this so that we are able to speak and share, because I can tell you, I looked into creating a podcast.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Good for you.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right.
So much work.
Once you get, wow, that's why I didn't do that other business. I was thinking, yeah. Cool. Well, again, thank you, Kristin, for being on the show today. And thank you, listeners, for watching the show today or listening to the show, depending on what platform you're on. I really appreciate it. And make sure that you're checking out everything that Kristin is doing, and we'll provide all of that into the show notes. So it'll be very easy. Just go to the show notes, click away, and check out what Kristin is doing. And while you're there, if you could do me a favor and give the show a rating and a review, that really helps spread the word about the Heart-Led Business Show and get more people the advice that they deserve. And now, until next time, lead with your heart.
You've been listening to the Heart-Led Business Show, hosted by Tom Jacobs. Join us next time for another inspiring journey into the heart of business.